Hi everyone, I'm August, and as always, thank you for being here. This video is for the Thursday train with Just Janice, art by Julie E, and Dave's DRH Acrylics, and I'll have their channels in the description of this video, and there might be a playlist. So you guys, thank you so much for having me on as a guest this Thursday. I hope you enjoy the painting. I hope you like the video. Before I get into the painting that I did this week, I wanted to real quick go over the pouring medium. I haven't been putting it in the video, but I put it in the description below, so I just wanted to touch base on that real quick. I measure my pouring medium. It's 2 parts, and I measure it using this kitchen scale, and I'll do it in grams or by ounces. And the reason that I measure it is so that it's consistent, and I know what I'm working with every time. So this pouring medium, as is, when you mix the 2 parts together in the ratios in the description, it's perfect for like a liquid paint, like the TriArt liquid line. You put that paint in there, you don't really need to adjust it at all. Sometimes with the pigments, depending on if I put too much varnish in, I might need to thicken it up a little bit. And so I'll add a little bit more of the BEHR 3300, which is 1 part of the pouring medium. So if you're working with pigments and you realize that you put your pouring medium in and it's a little bit too thin, you can thicken it right up with the BEHR. And then the same thing with the tube paint. So if you have your pouring medium in a little cup, add a couple drops of your tube paint, mix it up, get the color that you want. The tube paints are thicker, so it might thicken up your pour medium just a little bit. So in that case, I've been adding a mix of JoSonja Gloss Varnish and water. And I'll have, in like a little bottle, 3 parts of the JoSonja, 1 part of the water. And then I'll just thin up those tube paints just a little bit if needed. And you don't always need it. And I don't measure out how much paint I'm putting in. I just go by the color. So you'll hear some people say 1 part paint, 2 parts of the pouring medium. I actually don't use that much of the paint. I use a lot less of that. So if it's a little container, I think it's a 1 ounce container, 2 ounce container, I might put blueberry size of paint in, mix it up, and sometimes that's enough. Sometimes I need to put a little bit more. Something else. We're gonna go over what we're doing today. I call it a transfer bloom, but I don't think it's a real transfer bloom from what people are telling me. So a transfer bloom, you would blow out your bloom like you would, or do a swipe or whatever you're doing. You would pick it up with a palette knife, and then you would have another canvas or board with some pillow in the middle of it, and you would take that and transfer it down onto that second board. How I do it, I blow out my bloom, I scoop it up, and then I just transfer it back down, and it gives it a stretched out look. Some people call that the cheater's transfer, but I call it the efficient transfer, because why am I gonna mess up another board? Why am I gonna waste more pillow paint? Now, there are times that you would want to transfer to another board, and that's if you're gonna be doing ribbons where you're scooping up part of the bloom and you want to transfer that down, and then you want to scoop up the other part and transfer it down. That's perfect for that technique. But this, I don't really find the difference in transferring it to a different canvas. Something I want to point out is when you blow out your bloom, you have your cells, usually you'll have a bunch of cells in the middle of your bloom. And if you want to keep that design, just scoop it straight up and stretch it back out. If you want to disrupt it, which is what I like doing, is you'll have your circle here, and I'll come in with the palette knife and come at different angles. So now I'm taking that circle of cells and I'm making it a line, and it gives it a cool design when you put it back out on the canvas. So it seems like it just disrupts it enough. The other thing, when you're doing your transfer, you tilt your canvas or your board a little bit to help guide that paint. And then I do the same thing when I'm laying it back down. I still have the canvas tilted a little bit. If I don't, it seems like the paint kind of bunches up at the beginning here. So I'll keep that canvas tilted as I'm running it down. Something else I should mention is for this particular way I'm doing it, I literally keep my palette knife touching the canvas, and that helps so you're not going to get as many air bubbles. You won't get an accidental pleat. So something to keep in mind as well. It's a really fun technique. I hope you try it. I hope you enjoy the video. Thank you for being here again to the Thursday train. Thank you so much for having me on as a guest. Hope everybody has a wonderful day.